The village of Dukana, nestled deep within the savannah, surrounded by golden grasslands and dotted with acacia trees, presents a peaceful facade. But beneath the surface, fear lingered, like smoke from a dying fire. The villagers knew secrets hid in the shadows, especially under the ancient Baobab tree. Its massive trunk, a silent sentinel at the edge of Dukana, stood old as time itself, its branches gnarled fingers reaching towards the sky. The villagers revered it, yet they feared it too. For legend whispered of a woman, an ethereal being, cloaked in moonlight, who appeared only under the Baobab. Her voice, a haunting melody. Life in Dukana revolved around the rhythm of the sun. Dawn brought chores and laughter. Dusk brought families together around flickering fires, but after nightfall, silence fell, a heavy silence pregnant with anticipation. No one dared to venture out, not when the moon bathed the Baobab in its eerie glow. The elders, keepers of ancient stories, would warn the children. Stay clear of the Baobab at night, they'd say, their voices low and grave. The woman of the Baobab, she watches, she listens. And sometimes their voices would drop to a whisper she takes. The stories varied. Some described her as breathtakingly beautiful, with skin like ebony and eyes like shimmering pools. Others spoke of a chilling aura, an ethereal glow that surrounded her. One thing remained constant. The woman of the Baobab was no ordinary being. She was a spirit, they whispered, a guardian of the tree. Some argued a harbinger of misfortune, others feared. Her presence was felt, not seen, a fleeting glimpse of a white shawl, a whisper of a song carried on the wind. The children of Dukana grew up with these tales, fear woven into their bedtime stories. The woman of the Baobab became more than a myth. She was a warning, a reminder of the unseen forces that lurked in the darkness. The bravest of the village youths would boast of catching a glimpse of her, but their bravado faltered when the moon cast long shadows and the wind carried the mournful cry of a hyena, for they knew the woman of the Baobab was not alone. The creature was never described, not directly, but its presence was undeniable. A rustle in the undergrowth when there was no wind, the snapping of a twig, the heavy scent of musk and decay lingering in the air. It was the hyena, they whispered, but not an ordinary one. This hyena was as pale as bone. Its eyes glowed with an unnatural light. It was the woman's companion, her guardian, some said, her servant, others claimed. It was an omen of ill fortune, its presence a prelude to tragedy. One tale spoke of a young man, Adio, who scoffed at the stories, laughed at the elders' warnings. He ventured out one night towards the Baobab, determined to prove his courage. He was never seen again. Some say he ran away, ashamed of his foolishness. Others whisper a different story. They say the woman of the Baobab claimed him, lured him away with her ethereal beauty. And the hyena, it watched, its pale eyes reflecting the moonlight, cold and unforgiving. The villagers spoke of the hyena's howl, a sound that chilled them to the bone. It was not the typical cackle of a scavenger, but a mournful cry, a sound that seemed to echo the sadness of the savannah. Some said it was a warning, others a lament. The elders believed the howl carried a message only they could decipher. They would listen intently, their faces etched with worry. The fate of the village, they believed, rested on understanding the hyena's mournful cries. On nights when the hyena's howl echoed through the village, a palpable fear settled over Dukana. Mothers would clutch their children close, fires would be stoked, casting flickering shadows that danced on the walls of the huts. No one dared to speak of it directly, but the fear was a shared experience, a silent acknowledgement of the unseen forces that surrounded them. The hyena's howl was a reminder that the savannah held secrets best left undisturbed, and that the woman of the Baobab and her ghostly companion were not to be trifled with. Despite the fear, the Baobab tree held a strange fascination for the villagers. It was a place of mystery, a place where the veil between the spirit world and the human world seemed thin. Some villagers claimed to hear whispers coming from the tree. Whispers carried on the wind. They were faint, these whispers, barely audible. But those who claimed to have heard them spoke of voices filled with sorrow, with longing. Some believed they were the voices of the ancestors, trapped between worlds, seeking solace under the ancient branches of the Baobab. Others weren't so sure. They believed the whispers belonged to the woman of the Baobab, that she used them to lure the unsuspecting, to trap them in her world of shadows and whispers. Whatever the truth, the whispers only added to the mystique of the Baobab. The villagers treated the tree with reverence, leaving offerings at its base, fruits, flowers, sometimes even small trinkets, a way to appease the spirits they believed, a way to ensure their safety. One night, a young woman named Abini found herself drawn to the Baobab. She had always been skeptical of the stories, dismissed them as old wives' tales, but tonight, curiosity got the better of her. As she approached the tree, the air grew heavy, a strange stillness settled over the savannah. The moon was full, casting an eerie glow on the gnarled branches of the Baobab. Abeni felt a chill run down her spine. She hesitated, but it was too late. She saw her. Standing under the tree, bathed in moonlight, the woman of the Baobab. Abeni froze, her breath caught in her throat. The woman was even more beautiful than the stories described. Her skin glowed with an inner light. Her eyes held the wisdom of 1,000 lifetimes. She turned slowly and looked at Abeni. Fear propelled Abeni's feet. She turned and ran faster than she had ever run before. The image of the woman of the Baobab, her haunting beauty, forever seared into her memory. She didn't stop running until she reached the safety of her hut, her heart pounding in her chest. The elders listened intently to Abeni's story, their faces etched with concern. They knew the significance of her encounter. The legend of the Baobab woman was more than just a story. It was a warning, a reminder of the delicate balance between the world of the living and the world of the spirits. According to the legend, the woman of the Baobab had once been a human, a beautiful young woman who had been betrayed by a lover. Heartbroken, she had sought refuge under the Baobab tree, praying for solace, praying for death. The spirits of the Baobab, moved by her plight, had offered her an escape. They transformed her into one of them, a guardian of the tree. But her transformation came at a price. She was forever bound to the Baobab, unable to leave, forced to wander the spirit world alone. The legend served as a cautionary tale, a reminder to the villagers to always be mindful of their actions, to be careful not to offend the spirits. For the woman of the Baobab, despite her tragic past, was not to be pitied. She was a powerful being, and her wrath, if incurred, could be swift and terrible. Life in Dukana continued to revolve around the rhythm of the sun and the moon. The villagers went about their daily lives, but the fear remained, a constant undercurrent. The encounter with Abeni served as a stark reminder of the unseen world that existed alongside their own. The Baobab tree, once a source of comfort, was now viewed with a mixture of reverence and trepidation. The whispers continued, carried on the wind. Some dismissed them as figments of an overactive imagination. Others listened intently, searching for meaning in their haunting melodies. The elders warned the children against venturing out at night. The woman of the Baobab, they said, was restless. Her sorrow echoed in the hyena's mournful howl. They urged the villagers to be respectful, to honor the traditions, to appease the spirits, for the savannah held many secrets, secrets best left undisturbed. And the woman of the Baobab, forever bound to her tree, served as a chilling reminder of the unseen forces that shaped their lives. She was a warning whispered on the wind, a reminder that some wounds, even in death, never truly heal.